As usual, I always try with some sort of a standard definition because, in the domain of cloud and even in the domain of telco, there are a lot of definitions for many technologies. So that sometimes cause like confusion and uncertainty. So I chose a little bit older definition of cloud computing, which I personally used, okay, because that was the definition by the NIST, the National Institute of Standardization and Technology. It's an American entity, and they put a definition for cloud computing in 2011. And actually, while we were starting the journey in the telco in 2000, I would say 14 and 15, so we used this definition to put a framework of what is actually cloud computing. So I'll just read quickly the definition, and I will stress on some point that we will take it forward. So cloud computing is a model for enabling ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. So network, service, storage, application, and services that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort and service provider interaction. So that was the definition by that time, but we extracted some important information from that definition, which is the following: that the cloud model is composed of 5 essential characteristics that whenever they are fulfilled, you can call the setup as a cloud computing or cloud, and 3 service models and 4 deployment models. In the next slide, I'm going to list these characteristics and the service models and the 4 deployment models, and you'll see that most of us actually are familiar with that, but I just wanted to put the origin of this definition and like a cornerstone that we can rely on to start the webinar. So what are these characteristics? And I'm sure most of us will understand that one of the cloud characteristics that it is on-demand self-service, that you don't get the resources granted anytime, permanently, like we did in the physical domain. You get a chassis and then you get your service. Whether you're utilizing 10%, 90%, you still get the full chassis. No, the cloud is on-demand self-service. So whenever you need the service, you get it on demand, and you get it in a self-service fashion. So you can get it by yourself, by portals, by a dynamic way. So that's one of the characteristics of the cloud. Broad network access, the target by that time that to define that these resources can be accessed by different means, by terminals, by mobiles, by portals, by CLIs, by scripts. So many methods to access the service. And then the third thing, which is very well known about the cloud, that it is a resource pooling, I would say, setup. So a lot of consumers, many users share the same cloud and sharing resources, and that's actually what fulfilled the resources efficiency of the cloud compared to the physical environments. The rapid elasticity, and that was one of the pain points with the telecos, that whenever you want to scale or to upgrade your chassis, you purchase an order, you get an hardware, and you do expansion and a night action, and it takes a lot of time to expand your setup to cater for the increase, for example, in traffic. But with cloud, you have this rapid elasticity. You have the options to scale out, scale in, or scale up, scale down according to the methodology. So you can scale to the, I would say, the requirement of the user, or to the, for example, the traffic increase in many cases in the telco domains. And then measured service, that because basically, the typical models of the cloud that you pay per usage, then you have to have a measurable service. How much CPU are you utilizing, the RAM, the storage, and even you have to monitor the SLAs and availability, because that's what the customer pays for. So these are like the main characteristics of the cloud. Whenever they are verified or realized, then you have what you can call a cloud. And then a typical service models by that time were I would say, well known and still known till now, and more models are being evolving. But you have the infrastructure as a service, IaaS, or sometimes they call it IaaS, and the platform as a service, the PaaS, and software as a service, SaaS. So the infrastructure as a service, that the cloud is only leasing infrastructure in terms of computational power, in terms of storage, in terms of networking. And then actually the cloud provider doesn't care a lot about what kind of application that you are onboarding, because that's your part. The cloud is only providing an infrastructure. Platform as a service or PaaS is a little bit higher when the cloud is giving you some sort of an environment to develop or design your applications. And it can be also seen from different angle that PaaS is like the cloud is giving you a platform, for example, to doing supplementary function like database as a service, monitoring as a service, assurance as a service. So all these are considered PaaS. And software as a service, when you get the full stack, like the application on top of the stack as a service. And by the way, you will see in the slides and in the community that now there are a lot of 5G offerings, and OSS, BSS are offered as a software as a service. So for example, the operator doesn't purchase the software, but subscribe to a cloud-based application that does the function of OSS or BSS or monitoring. So SaaS now is very, I would say, common model on the telcos, and for sure it is a very, very common model on enterprise level. And then the deployment models, and I'm sure many of us know that these are like the term that were defined by 2011: private cloud, public cloud, community cloud, and hybrid cloud. So private cloud is mainly like a cloud that is exclusively leased or administrated or targeting a certain group of users, okay, like a certain in a certain organization. And I will give you example on private cloud in telcos, like the IT cloud, for example. And then public cloud, that is like a publicly shared cloud resources that's not exclusively by a certain organization. It's open for a public access. And then community cloud, that was a term, I would say, suggested by NIST, that's actually a cloud that may have like different group of users from different organizations that share the same interests. For example, a cloud for R&D across universities, a cloud for analytics that gather multiple organizations. That's a community cloud. And then a hybrid cloud, which is actually a mix of a private and public cloud. When you have this like multiple clouds and you need one to be seen as one cloud, but it's actually beneath there is like a flavor of a private and public cloud.